Well, good Friday morning, Southeast Texas. Been a warm start to your Friday morning after a pleasant overnight low temperature last night and this morning. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Right now, Roofing 911 Skycam Network here in Beaumont, sponsored by Packard and Prey. We've had mostly sunny skies most of the morning, but beginning to see those cumulus clouds developing now as we get daytime heating. That warm air rises, it cools, condenses, and forms those cumulus clouds. We look for partly cloudy skies this afternoon, with temperatures started out this morning very pleasant. Had some upper 60s in a few spots, especially north of Interstate 10 to the lower 70s in around Beaumont. We'll top out probably in the mid 90s coming up later today. So pretty hot Friday afternoon coming up, that's for sure. And we've had very light winds as well. Winds have been very light across the region this morning. Humidity in the 63% range, but as we talk about a little bit later, we have some dry air. It's going to be returning next week to Southeast Texas. That's really going to limit those rain coverages. Getting pretty dry too. We actually need the rain across Southeast Texas. And we expect temperatures tonight to drop on down again into the upper 60s to lower 70s across Southeast Texas. So pretty pleasant for those overnight lows, not too bad. Of course, it could be a lot worse if the humidity was a lot higher, but thankfully it's not. And we'll go from there as far as temperature-wise goes. Not too bad as far as those lows. Now, right now we're at 90 in Orange and Kirbyville, 88 Jasper, 91 Woodville, 88 Silsbee, 85 here in Beaumont, already 87 at Houston Intercontinental over in the Houston area. And we have some mid to upper 80s across southwestern Louisiana as well, 87 Lake Charles and DeQuincy. So yeah, pretty warm start. We've been dealing with this the past few days though, and those high temperatures are actually above normal. You know, most of the summer temperatures were right around normal. We had above normal rainfall for the summer. Now we get toward the middle of September, we're seeing drier weather and temperatures above normal. Kind of odd, but it happens. It all depends on that upper air pattern that we have across the United States. Now, satellite view across the region, of course, we have high pressure building in the upper atmosphere. Actually, it's been in place for a couple of days. See the rotation of the clouds there. So that suppresses the atmosphere. So very little, if any, chance of rain the next several days. There have been a few showers down around Corpus Christi. That's the same little area of moisture that was near Houston, Galveston yesterday. Just working on down the coastline. You can see nothing off to our east really. So our rain chance is pretty much out of the forecast. I just don't see much. Maybe a 10% coverage on Sunday. We could see an isolated shower or two there. And our rainfall outlook, as far as rainfall totals, that kind of confirms that. And this will be starting tomorrow afternoon after 4 o'clock for the next entire week. We'll put that into motion. Week worth of rainfall, and not very much. We're talking, look at that, under 1/10 of an inch for an entire week. That's pretty much nothing across Southeast Texas. It may pick up a little bit toward the end of next week, maybe a week from today. Next Friday, we may start seeing at least some scattered showers back in the forecast because, of course, it's been very, very dry across the area, and we need the rainfall. Just not much in the forecast coming up, so that kind of confirms that. Futurecast, well, lots of sunshine. We've had that all morning. It will become partly cloudy this afternoon, and temperatures doing a pretty good job. We're already in the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees. By 3 p.m., it's like low to mid 90s across the area. These numbers may be a little bit underdone. I'm expecting some mid 90s across parts of the area this afternoon, and just no chance of rain virtually at all. If one shower were to develop, it'd be less than a 10% coverage. So for high school football tonight, it's actually looking pretty good. No rain expected. And it's going to be warm. Notice that at kickoff, 84 degrees at kickoff, so mid to upper 80s still in the lakes area, but it'll cool down a little bit toward the end of those games. In fact, by 10 p.m., we should be in the mid 70s, but still around 80. Those parts of the lakes area. Very, very warm evening coming up, but then overnight, we cool down to be pretty pleasant to start your Saturday. It's at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, clear skies, upper 60s across much of the area. So what we have is we have dry air aloft, and it gets mixed down in the afternoon. And you can see those morning lows kind of reflecting that around 69 or 70. So yeah, pretty cool start, I guess you could say, to your Saturday morning. In the tropics, well, It's been fairly inactive year so far. I know we still got a long way to go officially, but we're still watching a disturbance off the coast of Africa, kind of flaring up a little bit this morning. Conditions should become favorable for this one to develop over the course of the next several days. Pretty good chance of it developing, at least as of right now, at 40% as it works on off to the west, eventually west-northwest. Now the good news about this system as well, even if this system develops, it will not be a factor in the Gulf of Mexico. That's good news. The way the upper air pattern's set right now across the east coast of the U.S., you have troughing along the east coast and just offshore of the Atlantic seaboard. It's helping to turn these systems on off to the north. So that's good news. Hopefully that'll continue the rest of this month. I'd like to at least see us get through September and I'd feel a little bit better, but we're slowly getting there. It's already almost the middle part of September already. Notice across the rest of the tropics, nothing there, just a few thunderstorms scattered east of the islands. Nothing really expected there. We'll flare up there in the northern Atlantic. That's about it. So things are pretty quiet. Lakes area, inland southeast Texas and the Triangle, expect partly cloudy and hot conditions this afternoon. High temperatures will be in the middle 90s across the area, about 94 along Interstate 10, low to mid 90s up in the lakes. Notice not much wind across southeast Texas at all. Very, very light winds. We've seen that over the past several days as well. The wind has certainly not been a factor in our forecast at all. Seems like over the last several weeks here in southeast Texas in the summertime. So it's been a kind of a windless summer so far. Tonight, clear skies, no rain expected. You know, the last couple of mornings we could see this again tomorrow morning. A little bit of patchy ground fog in the morning, especially in the rural areas. That is possible. No rain expected overnight. Upper 60s to around 70. Going to be a pleasant start to your Saturday, and then it'll warm up, fairly quickly. Notice those lows, low 70s. Could even be a 69 or 70 in and around the Vidor, Mauriceville, Deweyville area. And that fishing forecast tomorrow, that bass fishing forecast tomorrow for Sam Rayburn for your Saturday. We'll keep rain out of the forecast. Partly cloudy, low 90s, very light winds. And there's that current pull. Of course, the lake level is really low right now up at Rayburn. Of course, they continue to do some work on the dam there. The lake levels are pretty low, so be careful out in the boats coming up this weekend if you have any planned trips going up to Rayburn. But at least no rain chances in the forecast, but it will be hot up there, that's for sure. Now, 7-day forecast, no rain expected Friday or Saturday. Isolated shower possible Sunday. Isolated is a 10% coverage. That's what isolated is. Of course, widely scattered is 20%, but only a 10% coverage expected on Sunday. Little bit better moisture on Sunday may trigger a couple of isolated showers. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy each day. Now, what happens next week is the high starts to weaken. It starts to break down. You would think, all right, let's start getting some rain going again. Let's get some showers going next week. It's getting dry. We need it. But what happens next week is dry air above the surface. Mid-levels of the atmosphere starts working in from the north and northeast. So that's really going to close things down as far as rain coverages next week. So kind of in a dry period right now. I just don't see much change in that coming up at all. Of course, you can send us a text. We'll check the phone lines and see if we've had any texts come in since we've started the weathercast here. You can text us at 409-749-9302. Text us your questions and we will answer them as quick as we can. Nothing's coming through yet. Wait a couple more minutes, see if we get any more coming in. We'll check it one more time before the stream is over, but it has been, as I said, a fairly warm last few days. That is for sure. Fairly warm across southeast Texas, and that's going to continue all the way into next week across the region. So but that number is 409-749-9302. Give us a text, and we will get back with you once we get that text, get them questions answered. So nice afternoon across the area. It's still mostly sunny right now, but it will become partly cloudy across southeast Texas. Of course, no rain expected really over the next few days. But like I said, maybe a 10% coverage coming up on Sunday. And otherwise, high pressure is in control. That makes for pretty hot temperatures across the region. Speaking of temperatures, we're up to 87 now in Beaumont, 89 in Silsbee, 90 in Kirbyville, 88 in Jasper, some mid to upper 80s in southwestern Louisiana. Out to our west, pretty warm. Houston Intercontinental at 87, 86 Conroe and Huntsville. So hot afternoon. Temperatures are above normal. In fact, the normal high this time of the year only around 90, 91. We're going to be above normal the next several days, that's for sure. Closest shower activities will to our southwest around the Corpus area. And once again, we'll look at these rainfall predictions over the course of the next week, just to show you how little of rain we're expecting over the next 7 days. We'll start this out beginning tomorrow on into all of next week, ending on Friday or Saturday of next week. Yeah, Friday night, next Friday night, 7 p.m. No, that's less than 1/10 of an inch over 7 days, and that's throughout the area. So that is very limited, very little chances for rain coming up at all. Like I said, a couple of isolated showers will be possible on Sunday, and then again, maybe a week from today, next Friday, maybe a 20% coverage or 30 by then. We'll take a look at that again coming up later today. Just kind of show you how dry it is. And Futurecast is doing a pretty good job, actually. Started out in the upper 60s to low 70s this morning, and we're warming slowly now into the mid to upper 80s. In fact, doing a pretty good job at the noon hour. We're not quite at noon. It's forecasting 88, close to that. And then this afternoon, partly cloudy skies, low to mid 90s for highs. Model trying to pop up a little shower there somewhere in the lakes. That's always possible, but we're talking it's not going to help. It's not going to do anything, and the coverage would only be around 5%. We're seeing anything this afternoon. Now, as we head into this evening, 7 o'clock for high school football, but pretty warm, that's for sure. Wear the short sleeves. You're going to need that. Temperature still in the mid 80s, low to mid 80s at kickoff anyway. Pretty warm for that. Overnight, well, mostly clear to clear skies. Mid 70s by the end of the games, and at 10 p.m. mid 70s there. Still maybe close to 80 in a few spots up in the lakes area. And as we head toward the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, upper 60s, near 70. Very nice. And like I mentioned a while ago, the last couple of mornings, get in some of the rural areas, get away from all the concrete and the buildings. The rural areas, some patchy fog will be possible, patchy ground fog. We've seen that over the past couple of mornings across southeast Texas and southwestern Louisiana, a little bit of patchy ground fog across the region. And of course, in the tropics, things looking good. Not expecting anything right now in the Caribbean or Gulf for the next 7 to 10 days. So that's certainly some great news there. And watching that disturbance off the coast of Africa, working to the west-northwest. We'll see. It's still fighting some Saharan dust as well, but there is a potential this could develop and head on off to the west and eventually west-northwest. But that system either does not look like it'll be a factor in the Gulf of Mexico at all. No, there's going to be a couple more come off of Africa behind this one. So like I said, we still got a ways to go, but as each day goes by, the deeper we get into September, the chances of anything hitting us get a little bit less. Makes you feel a little bit better anyway. The deeper we get in September, nothing in the Gulf, that's good. Still a 40% chance of that system developing, though, over the course of the next week. We're talking mid-90s this afternoon. Pretty hot day coming up with light winds becoming light south in the afternoon.